of pencuci baju lah, okay, and then they should position a different appeal to specific market segment that they are going to focus on. Contohnya, one of the example is actually Tide. So Tide normally it is being targeted towards consumer that looking for tough punya purposes and also all-purpose cleaning. But when it comes to sheer, it's actually targeted to those who are looking for color protection, and then gain pula dia targeted towards those particular people that focus on scented laundry punya detergent. So basically to say that different companies normally you manage to see they focus on different section of all that particular matter. So these particular companies normally they can have another layer of management above that particular brand manager. Contohnya dia dah ada brand manager, and then dia ada satu lagi yang manager control everything above that particular manager. And normally it refers to, we call it as a category management system. So category management system is actually the one that going to coordinate effort of all the brand management manager that handling the related products and also services. So these are the examples of structure for decentralized brand management system. So they have the corporate, and then the marketing department, and then they have the product management, and then bawah product management they ada brand manager, and then they ada their own advertising itself agencies that they are going to appoint it accordingly. So this particular system, which is mean that here the brand manager, of course, they are responsible for each one of these particular functions, and the brand manager who works itself, they need to work closely with this particular advertising agency as well as the other marketing communication specialists. So which is mean the brand manager, they need to work with other areas of marketing within that particular firms itself. So then they need to work with the sales, they need to work with the advertising punya department, and then they need to work with promotion punya department, they need to work with marketing research punya department in order for them to understand for each one and another, and each one of these particular parties, they understand what are the tasks that they need to execute. Banyak pula student ni masuk WhatsApp, sorry. Okay, so the third one, the company also can use in-house agency. Kalau macam tadi, mungkin dia akan appoint agency daripada luar. So now, if the company, they want to have their own in-house agency. So in-house agency is actually when the advertising agency, they are going to set up their own agency, their own advertising itself, and it will be operated by that particular advertisers lah. So company normally when they want to set up in-house agency, they want to reduce the advertising and also the promotion cost. So then it also can able to control whatever the things that the company want to control in terms of how they want to arrange, and then they want to come up with the design or style macam mana, so then they can able to control particular advertising. But sometimes critics will come along the way, and companies, they need to experience it, and then they can able to set up a new objective when it comes to that particular matter. So a lot of company, for example, like Hyundai, Avon, Revlon, Land Rover, Spotify, if in Malaysia, contohnya macam Atilia Amani, they have their own in-house agency, which because of they want to come up with their own advertisement, and then they want to come up with their own version of it, and they want to have a control over it, so then they come up with their own in-house agency. Okay, so these are the summarization, a part of comparison between the advertising organization system, which you manage to see that if the company wants to use the centralized, decentralized in-house agencies, so what are the advantages and disadvantages of using this particular matters? You can have a look later on, and then if you don't understand, you can ask me, okay? Okay, now, companies say that, okay, if we want to have a decentralized, centralized, or we want to have a in-house itself, but if the company they want to appoint the advertising agency. Contohnya, they are using the decentralized or centralized. So now they need to understand what is actually the capacity and also the capabilities of this particular advertising agencies. So advertising agency, also known as ad agency, is actually a service organization that specializes in planning, executing the advertising program for that particular client. So basically that nearly 2/3 of the domestic billings, which is mean that here, when the company, they need to, which is the client, the company, they need to prepare the money to pay for that particular agency to spend for the media purchases. Normally 2/3 of it going to spend on that particular matter, which is mean it is they are going to appoint this particular agency, and that particular agency will handle all these particular items for the execution, advertising and also promotion. So in late 90s, 80s, and also in 1980s and also 1990s, advertising agencies normally, or advertising industry, they went to major changes as large agency normally they form in one of that particular organization, which is mean dia ada satu organisation yang besar, they control all this particular small punya advertising agency. And this particular agency, kita panggil sebagai agency consolidation. And certain agency consolidation, they come up with as a super agency. So super agency is actually a large agency that merge with the acquired other agency, and they support that particular organization accordingly. In United States, basically that they have many super agency. Because of this particular agency, normally it is a top 5 holding companies account over the US punya market, and of course they specialize on a lot of when it comes to the marketing communication itself, and especially on the digital marketing works. When we talk about that particular matter, okay, so if the company wants to use, for example, the first one, the type of advertising agency, they can have a full service agency. So full service agency is actually these are the range that the agency can offer lah, which is mean they can have interactive, and then traffic, public relation, event, support, studio artists, financial accountants, and everything which is will be handled by that particular full service agency. And when we talk about full service agency, selalunya bayarannya mahal lah, sebab contohnya macam Petronas, they hire this particular agency and then they come up with the marketing plan and tolong execute untuk Petronas untuk the whole year. Ini adalah the things that you need to do. Okay, so this particular full service agency, normally they are the one that going to plan, create, produce the advertising campaign, perform the research, which is mean they need to understand siapa market dia, and then this particular contohnya audience suka tengok TV pukul berapa, kalau dia nak guna TikTok pula, TikTok viewers macam mana, cara nak conduct macam mana. So dia kena perform all this particular research accordingly, and they are the one that going to identify and select the right media for that particular clients. So basically, there are there are certain types of companies that also will have, which is the advertising agency that also have non-advertising services. So non-advertising services, normally they also offered by the full services agency. For example, walaupun dia tolong buat promotion, dia tolong buatkan advertisement, but at the same time, this particular full service agency, dia tolong come up with the strategic planning, strategic marketing planning for the firm ataupun for that particular clients. And then dia tolong buat pula juga sales promotion, direct marketing, digital marketing, packaging untuk products, public relation, publicity. So then, which is mean dia buat semua lah, senang cerita. Okay, so then this particular company, of course, they need to have this particular ways that we call it as a account services or account management. So account services or account management is actually where it has a link between the advertising agency and also with the clients. So it depends on the size of the clients punya businesses, and it depends on the clients punya budget lah. So if the budget from the clients, dia kata okay, tahun ni kita nak letak 20 juta untuk buat marketing, so then dia tolong plan lah untuk that particular company. And that particular client, normally they are going to provide that particular budget, and there will be one account executive that will serve as a liaison officer that going to manage that particular account. So that particular account executive, they are going to understand the advertisers' marketing, promotion needs, and they need to interpret them to the agency punya personnel. Sorry. So this particular agencies, basically they are going to include all the basic business punya issues, strategic marketing, procurement, relationship building, and then they are also responsible for, which is mean the account executive also responsible to do all these particular items accordingly. So the second one that the company can use, instead of full service, they can use marketing services. So marketing services is actually when the company itself, they are going to gather in terms of this particular matter and conduct the research itself on behalf of the company. So this particular company, normally they are going to gather, analyze, and interpret whatever the information that they have, and they are going to provide that particular information to the clients. So normally, this particular marketing services, they are a large agency, and normally they provide also the marketing services department, which includes what we call it as an account planner. So account planner is actually the one that going to gather the information which is relevant to the client's punya product and services to develop a creative brief. So then they are going to study about the market, and then they need to understand the trend, and then they need also to understand competitors punya strategies, and then they are going to cable all this particular information to the clients. So in the marketing services also, they are going to have what we call it as the media department. So the media department is actually the one that going to analyze, select, and then contract for the space of time in that particular media. So then media department ni dia akan carilah, kalau you nak advertise dekat TV, waktu bila yang sesuai, and then pukul berapa. And then this particular media department, they have their own media specialists, and this particular media specialists, they should understand or know the audience well, in terms of the reach, in terms of the rate berapa, and then how well it will match with the clients punya target market. So the second one, which is that, sorry, not the second, the third one, which is the company can appoint what we call it as the creative services. So creative services is actually normally, they are the one that responsible for the creation and execution of the advertisement. And normally creative services, they are going to discuss the role of, kadang-kadang kita dengar kan, ada orang ni katakan, oh saya tak pandai lah buat copywriting. Ada pernah dengar tak? Kalau orang nak buat posting dekat Instagram, posting dekat Facebook, so then dia kena ada buat ayat dia kan, yang copywriting tu kan. So then that particular copywriting normally also being served by the creative punya services. So this particular copywriting, they conceive the ideas of ads, and then they write the headlines, sub-headline, and also the body copy, and then they are going to give to these particular clients lah. So in the creative services also, they have the art department. So the art department, the production department, the traffic department, which the art department is actually the responsible on how the advertisement will be look like, and then the production department, they are going to engage with all the printers. Kalau nak kena guna engrave, kena buat engrave, atau identify the supplier. And then the traffic department is actually the one that going to coordinate all the phases of the production. So creative services, they are responsible for all these particular matters. And when it comes to the strategizing, company, they need to identify which one yang dia nak lah. Okay, so the next one, tadi kita ada full service, and then marketing service, creative service. Now, the company also can use management and finance, and also the agency, organization, and also structure. So basically, management and finance is actually when the company, they are going to employ this particular administrative, managerial functions, the clerical peoples to perform all this particular function. So sebab akan ada orang yang akan engage semua benda ni. So company dia tak akan larat buat semua benda ni. So dekat dalam company dia sendiri, which is mean the client, dia akan adalah basic operating company. Yang this particular basic operating company, dia akan engage dengan all this particular advertising agency yang dia nak appoint dekat luar. Okay. So the next one, which is the agencies, organization, and also structures. So this one is actually introduce the concept of under one structure lah. So this particular system, we call it as a departmental system. So this departmental system is actually the all agency functions are being set up as a separate department, and many large agencies, they are using this also system, as each one of the individual from that particular department, they are going to work closely related to that particular item to service that particular account lah. So then these are the types of advertising agencies that the company can take into consideration, or the clients can take into consideration. But if they want to use another items also pun boleh juga. So which is mean akan ada satu lagi types of agencies that the company can take into consideration, which is creative boutique, or they want to appoint the media specialist company. So creative boutique is actually where it is a small advertising agencies that provide only creative services, which is ni creative services tadi macam nak buat production. Siapa tadi yang angkat tangan? Rasa macam ada orang angkat tangan je. Ada siapa-siapa angkat tangan ke?
Ada Daus.
Oh, Daus. Yes, Daus. Sorry. Tak nampak.
Sakit. Madam, saya nak tanya,
Aha.
what's the difference between account services or management dengan management and finance?
Account services.
Account services or management dengan management and finance.
Oh, dengan management of finance. Kalau account services, dia lebih kepada focusing on apa ni kita panggil responsible untuk okay, macam ni ya. Satu company normally dia akan ada banyak clients. So that particular account management, dia akan handle satu account for satu client saja. Itu satu company. Contohnya lah kita ambil ya. Kita ambil lah company ni, contohnya nama dia, Allah, nama yang company kat Malaysia ni, I lupa lah nama dia. Allahu Akbar. Apa nama company tu?
Petronas.
Itu client. Advertising agency.
Production ke?
Tak, dia company yang handle advertising. Kejap. Okay. Company ni dia akan contohnya dia jaga that particular account for the company tu sendiri. Contohnya, okay, you Petronas, you client which is you one of the client is Petronas. I one of the client, contohnya lah, I client, contohnya company apa Bagi sikit nama, tak keluar lah nama.
Petronas.
Petronas. Oh, suka sangat Petronas. Okay, satu Petronas, satu lagi contohlah Hijabista Hub. Contohlah Okay. So, account management, dia akan buat jaga account bukan hanya untuk advertising, tapi dia buat juga strategic marketing untuk that particular company. Kalau macam management and finance itu adalah in-house dalam company kita sendiri yang yang akan cooperate dengan advertising agency dekat luar. So, contohnya Petronas kan, dia akan ada in-house dia punya department, betul?
Betul.
Okay, dia akan ada accounting department dia, akan ada finance department dia, akan ada human resource department dia. So, bila dia nak buat advertisement, normally that particular accounting department, dia kena bayar untuk that particular agency yang dia dah appoint untuk buat advertisement. So, in-house ni dia kena communicate dengan orang tu. So, which is mean dia tak ada control untuk buat this particular activities. Tapi dia in terms of controlling the administrative punya task. So, dia lebih kurang macam you kena engage with another company and then kena communicate and then you akan report kepada bos you.
Oh, faham.
Kalau macam yang tadi, account tadi, dia tolong, dia orang luar yang handle, contohnya I dah bagi duit, contohnya macam Petronas, okay, I bagi you 3 juta. So then, that particular account management tolong handle that particular items. Sebab that particular advertising agency, normally dia akan ada banyak sub dia dekat dalam advertising agency itu sendiri. Dia ada bahagian creative works, dia akan ada bahagian account department bawah advertising agency itu sendiri. So, dia macam ni I nak lukis pun tak boleh, tak ada whiteboard. So that which is mean students need to understand the structure of the businesses and the structure of the advertising agency first. Sebab
Okay.
each one of that particular company, normally kita akan ada different type of organization structure. So setiap satu structure ni dia kena understand to each one and another. Sebab senang cerita, kalau you buka advertising agency, dalam advertising agency you tu pun kena ada accounting department. So accounting department dalam advertising agency kenalah communicate dengan accounting department dekat client punya organisation in order for them to understand each one another needs lah.
Oh, okay.
Okey kah? Betul kah yang I cakap?
Okay, madam.
Okey ke Dawas?
Okay.
Tadi I nampak macam ada satu tangan lagi yang angkat. Tangan siapa?
madam. Saya,
Kai,
madam.
Kai.
Yes, Kai. Yes,
Madam.
Kai.
Ya, tapi ni just confusion saja tau. Okay. Saya ada kawan ni,
Mhm.
dia syuting. Kenapa saya sebut Petronas? Sebab okay, ada kawan ni, dia syuting untuk iklan Petronas.
Okay.
Okay, so put the acting aside. So masa dia syuting tu, okay, production and this actor, so obviously they are doing for the advertisement lah kan?
Okay,
Advertisement.
yes.
So kat situ pun ada klien. So klien tu yang tengok macam mana syuting tu okey ke, aku suka ke, aku tak suka ke, macam tu kan.
Yes.
So klien tu sebenarnya dia siapa Saya jam.
Klien tu siapa? Okay.
Klien tu dia Petronas. Dia yang tentukan suka shot ni atau tak. Tapi klien tu dia macam okay, so
Bukan
soalan
orang
saya
daripada
macam
Petronas.
dia a part of Petronas. Diorang kata itu adalah klien. Maksudnya diorang tu Petronas. Orang Petronas.
Betul? Soalan dia?
Okay. So dia dalam management of advertising ni diorang tu siapa?
Diorang tu siapa? Siapa diorang tu? Which is kawan you ke?
Bukan yang klien.
Klien tu adalah Petronas.
Diorang adalah Petronas dan diorang adalah bahagian ads.
Yes,
Marketing.
bahagian advertisement. Dia boleh jadi bahagian marketing specialist dekat dalam Petronas. Ataupun dia boleh jadi orang PR, ataupun dia boleh jadi brand communicator ataupun brand marcom punya manager for that particular Petronas itself. Sebab Petronas ada banyak produk. So then dia kena tengok siapa pula client akan serve for that particular itself lah. So klien dia secara generalnya adalah Petronas. Cuma specifically klien dia which one dalam Petronas tu nak kena identify lah siapa klien dia kiranya. Kena tengok kawan you tu buat advertisement pasal produk apa.
Masa tu produk RON 95.
Okay, so then which is mean they focus on that lah. Sebab dia akan ada pula kadang-kadang Petronas, dia need to come up with, contohnya sebab dia ada selalu apa, yang Grand Prix punya sponsorship tu kan. So then dia pun kena buat advertisement untuk event tu. So dia akan appoint this production company ataupun any advertising agency untuk buat that particular advertisement. So itu mungkin datang daripada another department. So then sebab Petronas ni besar, so then dia akan appoint many advertising agency to handle the advertisement and promotion for the Petronas itself. So the Petronas is actually being served as a client. So company which is the advertising agency ni kena fulfill lah apa yang clients tu nak. And of course client dia akan bagi tahu, okay Petronas kata saya nak ni, saya nak ni, saya nak ini. Tapi pada hari kena shooting tu, orang Petronas which is one of the staff dia akan turun lah tengok. Kalau dia rasa macam ini tak kenalah dengan image Petronas, I suggest that you kena buat macam ni. So then that particular advertising agency kena cuba amend lah accordingly.
Betul. Itu.
Okay ke Kai?
Okay.
Okay. Apa tadi I cakap? Okay. Creative agency. So basically when it comes to the creative agency, This one is actually the small company lah. Small company that normally they provide this particular creative services, and this particular company normally they helps the small or micro businesses come up with their own advertisement. Contohnya dia tolonglah buat, kalau macam contoh I baru nak start niaga, I tak reti buat copywriting, I tak reti nak buat advertisement tu macam mana, nak letak kat page I advertisement, and then design dia macam mana, layout macam mana. So then akan appoint this particular creative boutique untuk come up with this particular ads for the organisation. So then which is I mintalah dia orang tolong buat, kalau nak buat posting ayat copywriting ni macam mana. So then we pay for that particular services. Or it can be in terms of the media specialist company. So this particular media specialist company, of course, they specialize in buying media, and this particular ni Alicia, okay, sekejap. I tengah admit ya, sekejap. Okay, so then this particular agencies, of course, they have their own media strategies, and then they grown more on the complex specialized media punya profile lah. So then the media specialists normally they are doing tasks such as buying media time, and then buying particular radio punya time, buying television punya time, and then they purchase a large amount of time and space dekat television, radio, and normally these are the media specialists, dia akan dapat large discount. So bila another company appoint this particular media specialist, usually they can receive a good amount of discount from this particular media specialist, and they can save lots of money lah, which is mean the clients can save some of amount of money because they appoint this particular media specialist. So then there are certain fees that the company, of course, they need to pay, and also there will be certain commission that companies also need to pay, which is mean the client need to pay. So then the agency or the client, sometimes they need to develop this particular media strategies accordingly, and these particular media strategies will being broadcast according to the time, space, in that particular publication, depends on the one that they study or they choose according to that particular session. So if the company choose that, okay, we are going to use media, which is the television, and then the vehicle that we are going to use, contohnya kita nak guna Gegar Vaganza. So Gegar Vaganza is actually the programs dekat dalam TV tersebut. So Gegar Vaganza is actually the vehicles that they are going to use, and then the media which is they are going to choose is actually television. And then from that particular times, they need to understand, okay, berapa banyak pula nak beli paid dia punya during that time, sebab kena tengoklah Gegar Vaganza tu berapa jam. Kalau 3 jam, so then berapa banyak pula jumlah yang you nak kena bayar untuk you punya advertisement. So it depends actually on that particular range of placement and how the company would like to opt advertising media. Okay, kita break sekejap 5 minit, sakit tekak.
Boleh, madam. Minum dulu.
Okay, if you want to go to ladies or gentlemen, if you would like to freshen up, you may do so. Okay, so welcome back. Okay, so the next one. Okay, in terms of the influence of promotion stimuli on the consumer decision making. As an overview, companies, of course, they arrange everything when it comes to advertise their product and also services. But the companies, which is mean we are talking about the clients itself, they need to understand their customers. Okay, so they need to understand their target market. Basically, when they want to understand, they need to learn about the behavior of this particular target market. So consumer behavior can be defined as a process of activities that people engage in searching for, selecting, purchasing, using, evaluating, and also disposing of the product and also services to satisfy the needs and also the desires of the customer. So when having said that, okay, the marketer's success in influencing purchase behavior depend on how well they can able to understand the consumer behavior. Sekejap, ada lagi siapa ni nak masuk lagi ni? Baru. Okay, dah. So, when it comes to that, my question, do you still remember the stages involved in consumer decision-making process?
Daus. Unmute dulu Daus.
Or you leave it to Daus? Yes, Daus. There are 5 stages involved in consumer decision-making process. Ini kita ulang balik ni, MKT 425 ni. Yes, Daus?
Kalau tak silap saya sih macam ingat madam. Saya ingat
Okay.
Problem
Macam tak
recognition.
ingat, masih ingat, iaitu?
dia kena ada need recognition dulu kan.
Okay, yes, betul.
Kena
Dia
tahu betul.
Need
problem
recognition,
recognition, information
information search,
alternative
evaluation of alternative, purchase, and also
Purchase
decision,
decision.
post-purchase
post-purchase.
evaluation.
Evaluation.
Yes. Okay. So, the company, of course, I tak akan terang satu persatu benda ni sebab you all dah belajar dari MKT 425. So then I just want you to engage in terms of this particular matter. So which is me. Sorry. Company, they need to understand in terms of the consumer decision-making process and how the company, how this particular customer will make a decision on buying that particular products or the services. When we talk about if the customer wants to buy gula-gula, for example, so then they don't involve this particular decision-making process, which is mean need recognition until dah purchase and also post-purchase sebab that particular item is slightly murah harga dia. So kalau tak puas hati, beli je yang baru. But when it comes to this particular products, which is that expensive products, contohnya if you are buying laptop, handphone, house, car, or even you are buying some other items normally, contohnya nak beli baju, kasut, nak beli baju raya kan. So then normally we go through all this particular process accordingly because of the customer itself. They need to understand, I mean that the company need to identify why this particular customer need to buy that particular products and also services. So, marketers basically that they need to know the specific needs of this particular consumer, and they try to satisfy these particular needs, which it can be translated into a purchase punya criteria. So, when we talk about the promotion stimuli, so how the company will identify in terms of the needs on understanding this particular consumer behavior and also the promotion stimuli, because of many aspects when it comes to promotion stimuli refers to the various marketing communication and incentive design to persuade the customer to purchase the product and also services. Contohnya, Daus dah beli baju raya ke belum?
Dah
Dah. Warna apa?
warna hitam.
Oh, tema tahun ni tak, bukan orange break ke tahun ni?
Tak, saya nak lain sikit.
Oh, nak lain sikit. Okay. So, may I know which specific, is there any specific brands for that particular baju Melayu that you bought?
Saya main beli je sebab mak saya yang beli.
Okay, sebab mak you tolong beli. So dan mak you mesti dah ada buat dia punya first preliminary punya selection lah. And then what makes your mom might probably choose that particular product depends on the marketing communication and incentive will give away during your mom's punya purchase. Contohnya, dia ada bagi pula apa ni, kupon diskaun ke, ataupun ada slash of price ke, ataupun ada dapat aunty, kalau aunty beli this particular baju Melayu, kita akan bagi free pula. Apa kita panggil tu? Butang baju Melayu. Okay, so then it will leads to the purchase of that particular products. So which is mean the company, they need to understand this particular promotion stimuli, because of this particular promotion stimuli will affect in terms of how the customer will purchase that particular products accordingly. So for many product and services, purchase decision is actually the result of a long detailed process which it includes in terms of an extensive information search. Sebab kalau contoh, Kai dia nak beli laptop lah contoh, takkanlah dia pergi kedai hari ni, okay, and then pergi kedai tu, okay, saya nak yang itu. Dia mesti dah ada cari dulu kan information, nak laptop apa, nak processor yang macam mana, harga berapa, RAM berapa, and then in terms of the things that you want for your laptop. So semua benda tu customer dah cari dulu. So customers normally also will do this particular brand comparison, and then they are going to evaluate before they are going that particular purchases. So which is mean, is it the promotion stimuli affect the consumer behavior? Yes, because of the influence of promotion stimuli on the consumer decision will create or leads to the attention of the customer, the perception of the customer about that particular product, how the customer will do the evaluation on purchase before purchase that particular product, and how they are going to make a decision making on purchasing that particular product. Is there any after effect of the behavior which is bought after they bought that particular product, and is there any long-term impact in terms of the consumer behavior? So all of this particular item will leads to the matters that we have discussed earlier on, which is about this particular consumer decision making process, which tadi Daus dah bagi tahu the consumer decision making process involve of all this particular process, and along the way that when the consumer wants to make a decision making, it will some of the psychological processes that will impact in terms of the decision making, in terms of the motivation, perception, attitude, formation, the integration of information, and then which is mean the way of knowledge, meaning belief combinations when they are going to make a decision, and then the learning, which is mean the process before they are going to consume or purchase that particular product, which it can affect the future related behavior of that particular customer. So that is actually uh, the things that we discuss in terms of the influence of promotion stimuli on the consumer decision making. So now we are looking in terms of how the environmental influences on the consumer behavior. So basically, when we talk about environmental influences, here we are looking in terms of the external of the company. So then normally when we talk about environment can be divided into two. We have micro environment and also we have macro environment. So we also look in terms of micro environment, which is mean here internal, which is mean inside of the company, which the element can be controlled by the company. But when it comes to external environment, here we are looking in terms of macro environment, that the one the company cannot control, but they can influence this particular customer on buying a certain products and also services. So the external influences on consumer behavior or the decision making itself depends on that particular culture. So culture is actually can be defined as the learning meanings in terms of value, norms, customs that shared by the members of the society. So the question is that, can you give me example of the culture influence on buying decision? Anyone? Can I have sekejap nak tengok siapa ah. Farihin ada? Can I have Farihin? Farihin hilang ke? Farihin tak ada. I panggil ni lah. Farouk. Can I have Farouk? Calling once. Calling twice. Lepas ni kalau I panggil tak ada orang kick dia daripada kelas. Can I have Aisyah Alia? Aisyah Alia?
Yes, madam.
Okay, so can you give me example of culture influence on decision-making process?
Is it like macam Hari Raya? We have Hari Raya.
Okay,
So we need to buy baju raya because
okay,
it is in our culture that we need to
Okay.
celebrate Hari Raya. Is it right?
okay, okay, yes. Also, that one in terms of the culture for which is mean the Hari Raya, we also need to remember that culture is also embedded from some other things that we manage to gain upon the environment itself. Contohnya, people nowadays they have a craze over Korean punya makanan. So then tiba-tiba hari ni buka puasa nak makan Korean punya food. Ada ke tak ada?
Betul.
Betul.
Ada.
So that one is also a partial of the culture punya decision making process lah. Okay. So the next one in terms of the subculture. So subculture is actually the smaller groups of culture, which includes for those who believes, values, norms, patterns of behavior, and then which it is a part of the larger punya cultural of mainstream, which is impact on that particular matter. So the one that tadi siapa cakap Anis ya tadi ya? Lupa sorry Aisyah. Aisyah cakap tadi is a partial of the subculture, but it's still under culture generally. Okay. So the next one, which is in terms of the social classes. So social classes refers to the homogeneous division in society into which people sharing a similar lifestyle, value, norms, interests, and that can be groups. So normally social classes, consumer, they have a different social classes that differ to the degree which the various product and services is being used. Contohnya macam depends lah on the leisure activities, shopping patterns, media habits. Because of social classes can be divided into three. We have upper, middle, and also lower. So Kai, can you give me an example? Decision making which has an influence on the social classes?
Medium soalannya?
Social class influence on decision making.
Okay, maksudnya 20 and 40. Okay.
So,
Okay,
apa
maksud
beza
dia contoh
T20?
produk ke?
Yes, apa contoh dia?
Oh, contohnya macam smart home for
Okay.
those. And then kalau kereta dia maybe dia beli Volvo for
Okay.
T20.
Okay. Yes. So then which is
So,
mean
purchase.
you manage to see lah, there is a different influences on the consumer behavior upon that particular social classes because of they want to represent themselves in that particular a group of social class itself lah. But then which is kalau nak beli rumah mesti beli yang smart home, and then kalau nak beli kereta kena beli all this particular expensive car, nak kena Jaguar ke ataupun Rolls Royce ke, and then kalau nak beli kalau nak pergi leisure, so then dia tak duduk lah hotel yang murah-murah, so then dia duduk hotel yang mahal-mahal. So then that you will see in terms of the differences in terms of that particular matters. For example, Giorgio Armani, this particular fragrance, which is SIC, Passion One, okay, which appeal to the growing Hispanic subculture in the US itself. So then this one is actually appeals to the subculture of that particular companies that they want to focus on. So the next one, which is in terms of the other environmental influences, which is the reference group. So reference actually those who are presumed perspective or values that are being used by the individual as a basic judgment, opinion, and also action. And there are certain reference group that people will look for, and this particular group basically they have their own basis for his or hers opinion, judgment, or actions. And normally this particular reference group, people will look or they will look for and they are the one that going to influence cases of the consumer decision itself. And reference group also, your family members also will serve as a reference group for each one and another lah. So then they will serve as the initiator, information provider, influencer, decision maker, facing person, and also the consumer itself. So the next one, which is we have the situational determinants. So situational determinant, which is mean that here the specific situation in which the consumer plans to use the product also directly affect the perception, the preferences, and also the purchase behavior. So this particular situation determinants normally includes the usage situation, the purchase situation, and also the community situation. Can you give me example on this particular matters? Siapa nak panggil lah?
Madam.
Yes. Siapa tu?
Saya.
Daus. Oh, okay.
Dia macam contoh kan kalau keluar movie Avengers kan, and then akan ada certain kids suka buy baju Spider-Man kind of that. Macam tu ke contoh dia?
Yang mana satu?
Motion.
Situational.
Saya pun keliru dengan reference dengan
Okay, so situational contohnya macam tadi kan, you kata nak tengok cerita Avengers, and then kenapa nak beli baju Avengers? Sebab during that time is actually punya apa ni the event of the Avengers, and then because of that particular apa ni kita panggil the movie itself, so then membuatkan kita nak membeli that particular item, so that it will affect lah on that particular matter. Cuma reference group ni dia adalah orang yang berbeza. Contohnya there was scroll the Instagram, and then suddenly there will be one influencer which you look for. Contohnya dia pakai kasut ni smart sangat-sangat. So then dia tunjuklah okay this particular shoes okay, and then because of you look to that particular apa ni influencer, so then you mungkin akan beli that particular because of the recommendation or upon the opinion of that particular influencer. Ataupun contoh, you suka main football and then you tengok this particular football punya player pakai that particular jersey or baju or kasut. So then you want to be like that particular player supaya you boleh main hebat bola macam dia, so then you are going to buy that particular item. So that is actually the difference between the reference group and also the situation punya determinant. Okay ke?
Okay, madam. Faham.
Okay. So these are the summarization of the roles of family decision-making process, okay, in terms of that particular matter. So each one of these particular roles has an implication for the marketers itself. So this one you just can go through sajalah, okay. So the next one. Now company need to think of. They already understand about the company and who is actually the advertising agencies that they need to appoint, and then the type of advertising agency, and then they need to understand in terms of the consumer behavior and how does it affect in terms of companies come up with the promotion of that particular company. So company, of course, by the end, they need to establish the objective. So the objective, why they need to create this particular IMC. So many companies they have a difficulties in terms of creating the objective because of the crucial steps in the promotion planning process is actually where setting a realistic objective, which it will guide the development of IMC programs. So companies normally they fail in using this particular specific marketing communication objective because of they might probably have an inadequate guiding for the development for the promotion plan, or might probably they don't have the way of how to measure the effectiveness for each one of this particular IMC. So companies, they need to understand in terms of how they should come up with this particular marketing objective. And company need to understand what is actually the difference between marketing objective and also integrated marketing communication objective. Bunyi dia nampak macam sama, tapi tidak. So, marketing objective generally to say that it is being established because of you want to accomplish to the overall marketing program. So, which is mean, dalam company contohnya macam Petronas. So Petronas dia ada marketing department. Dalam marketing department, they need to come up with the marketing objective. So marketing objective will suit for every sub-department or subdivision dalam department marketing. So it will define the terms. Contohnya, if the company wants to come up with the marketing objective, they need to define it something that should be specific and it can be measurable. Because of objective, you need to measure. Okay, so you need to measure the outcomes such as the sales volume. So if you are talking about we would like to increase sales volume, so benda tu tak specific. So the company need to put out, we would like to increase 20% sales volumes for the next 3 years, or we would like to increase 20% of sales volumes from last year 20,000 to 30,000. So then dia mesti kena ada measurable ataupun kena ada numerical punya adjustment. So they should also focus on the market share, profitability, or the return on investment. So it should be quantified, it should be realistic, it should be something that can be attainable. But when it comes to integrated marketing communication, sebab dalam marketing department dia akan ada advertising. So ini adalah tugasan dia, which is the integrated marketing communication objective. So that particular division, they need to come up with the statement of various aspect of IMC programs that they want to accomplish. Contohnya macam dia kata, okay, we would like to achieve customer engagement 20% on TikTok. So you dah specify in depth lagi yang mana benda tu akan menjurus kepada the sales volume, which is mean kalau TikTok you naik, so then dia akan lead kepada sales volume company tadi, which is mean the marketing objective. So marketing objective is actually general, dan dia akan ada sub things, what is actually the things that you want to create to attain that particular objective later on. So then, based on that particular communication task required to deliver the appropriate message to that particular, to that particular target audience. So basically that for that particular integrated marketing, dia lebih specify on that particular IMC task that you want to do. But when it comes to marketing objective, it is more on overall of the marketing department, which it can be translated to the overall performance of the company. So, is there any differences between sales objective with the communication objective? Yes. So when we talk about the sales oriented objective, normally it will focus or aim on to increase the sales of that particular product and also services. And normally it will require a certain economical justification, which is mean the return on investment. So here kita cakap kalau kita nak naik sales, so return on investment company akan naik jadi berapa? Okay, and then the specific return is normally sometimes difficult to determine because of whatever the marketing campaign that you want to produce, it should be quantified in result, which is increasing sales volume by certain percentage ataupun increase volume by certain amount of ringgit, which ataupun increasing the brand market share by 20% in that particular market. So a lot of company, for example, just like macam P&G, they decided to increase their advertising budget in attempt to boost the sales. Sebab bila sales naik, bila nak naik sales, dia mesti kena ada aktiviti yang untuk boost that particular sales. So apakah aktiviti dia? Adalah dia kena buat a lot of advertising untuk menaikkan sales. Kalau tidak, sales dia tak akan naik. Jadi macam gitu je because of doing nothing to get that particular sales volume. So these are the factors that normally influence the sales volumes of the company, which is it depends on the several sales function. Contohnya macam the competition level and then the technology used by that particular company, the economic condition, the product quality, the price of that particular product, how the company distributed that particular product, and how the company advertise and promote that particular product, which it will leads to the sales volumes or the sales market share or the sales of that particular companies generally. That one in terms of the sales. But what is actually communication objective? So communication objective, basically it will focus on the overall goals of increasing brand knowledge, increasing interest of the customer, creating favorable or positive attitudes towards the product or towards the company itself. And then you try to create the favorable company image for that particular company itself. So here we are looking in terms of consumer. Normally they are going to pass through these particular 3 stages, which is mean they need to go through the cognitive level, which is mean the thinking parts, and then the affective level, which is mean the feelings part, and also the cognitive level, which is mean the behavioral. So when the company want to communicate, so then they should have these particular elements accordingly. But is there any problems by creating communication objective?